So a digital TV is not a smart TV, please, yeah? Make sure that you know which is which that you have in your house. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic is what has been the key factor or the roots of these shows that we've been having for the past 1 year. And it is not our fault, but we still have to tackle that because we are trying as much as possible to beat that COVID-19 curve, the spread of COVID-19, to go back to our businesses and also to restructure our economies. But as we look forward to that, a possibility of that, even as the vaccination process is going on and businesses are trying to shift in this period, the question that people are asking, how exactly are industries restructuring themselves to adapt to the new environments? How is the banking industry doing? How is the manufacturing industry doing? We were just seated here with Faith Wambui from Fuzu, who's the community manager right there, trying to help us understand how the company itself has adjusted with the new measures, with the new environment that we're in, as well as how the manufacturing industry has changed, how the HR industry has changed, and how you can navigate the workforce, which has restructured immensely for the past 1 year. So how is the banking industry doing? I'm joined here with a lovely panel of people. We'll allow them to introduce themselves to help us understand and what is the future of the banking sector. We had looked earlier on what was happening in your dailies yesterday, and CBK is trying to introduce a bill to regulate digital lenders in the country who have been accused of having extremely high interest rates, and they will be given, if the bill is passed, a period of 6 months to register. So I was taking a look at the numbers, and the figures are ridiculous. But we'll be taking a look at that a bit much later on. Right now, let's get straight to this conversation. Mr. Benson, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here.
I'll allow you guys to introduce yourselves and also, of course, from where you come from, and then we can get into the conversation from you, sir.
Thank you. My name is Benson. I work with Post Bank Kenya as a marketing and communications manager. I'm happy to be here this morning, especially on the topic that is most current, the new norm. And I will look forward to having some good discussions about how Post Bank is trying to navigate through these times. Thank you.
Yeah, also accompanied by a gift, Zawadi.
Yes, my name is Zawadi Rongo. I'm a second-year student here at KU. I'm also the organizing secretary of Finance Society of Kenyatta University.
Always lovely to have you guys around.
Yes, thank you so much. And as a youth, I'll be joining the conversation on how COVID has affected us. And yeah.
Zawadi, do you bank?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
How has it changed for you? Do you bank online or do you go there in person?
First of all, I have the higher education loan. I'm part of it. So obviously I have an account. But I can say that during these times of COVID, it has been hard to save. I don't have a source of income.
Right.
So I mostly rely on my parents.
Right. So now, what is the environment looking like in the banking sector right now, even as we try to see why Zawadi isn't saving that much during this period?
I think it resonates very well because, as we are aware, part of the country is on lockdown with a lot of restricted movement, with a lot of authorization if one has to move. And gatherings have been reduced, and even movements in public transportation has also been affected.
Right.
This also discourages people possibly who are used to conventional ways of banking, so they can't move. There is also fear that any movement you make, possibly you're having potential, the potential you're possibly getting into, getting the virus. So I think this has affected the way banking has to take place.
Yeah, and bonds and other financial instruments, as I understand, have lost their value. How are banks coping?
Well, I would say that in that respect, because everyone is not very sure about the future. So basically people are trying to hold in so much on what they have. And in the issue of now trying to possibly save for the future, they are very careful in what they do. And therefore the demand for those kind of instruments goes down, and hence that's the situation.
Right now, Zawadi, in this period that banks are trying to, readjust for readjust themselves to this particular, situation that we are going through. How has it affected your financial decisions currently? Do you save more? Are you spending more in this period? Do you see any need to save, especially this time when a lot of people are not making that much money? And as you said, you have some people as well do not have an actual source of income that they can get something to save or to put into their banks. So how have you adjusted, particularly financially, in this period?
It has been tough because I've not been saving much compared to before COVID. When I was physically in school. I had that time I had expenditure. Nowadays,
You have not much.
Yes,
to
fare.
spend on.
Yeah, I don't spend fare money, food. So it's been really hard, and also convincing my parents I need this much money so that I can save.
Right now, with this period that we are undergoing the COVID-19 pandemic, we do not physically need to go to a bank to go there and deposit our money or check for our balances as well. Do you, as a young person, right, who has come into the age of technology, the digital shift in the economy, do you feel that you're going to affect his work into the future, in that now you will not be needing to go to the bank? You'll just check your balance on your phone, transfer the amount of money, deposit. Do you feel like it's going to negatively affect what the banking industry is currently with, or is there a way that they can readjust to what the young people are more conversant with?
I can say that it will positively and negatively affect the banking industry, because positively there will be creation of more jobs, especially in the fintech industry. But negatively, people will be cut off. They will be redundant in their workforce.
Right.
So I love how they have introduced mobile banking. It's very efficient. It helps me check my expenditure, how I'm using my money, etc. And also, they should also tap in the future into artificial intelligence so that we can be able to improve, because there are some gaps within the mobile banking apps.
Right. Even as she speaks of that, what is the future of banking as you see it from your end?
I think I did agree with Zawadi in this respect, because arising from this kind of situation and realities, there's been massive disruptions in the way people do things. And one of the positive things that I can say is that there has been an acceleration of movement for customers into mobile channels, into alternative banking channels. And I'm happy Zawadi has not been left alone. Being part of the youth, we have addressed ourselves aggressively in communicating about alternative channels that you can be able to undertake your banking without necessarily having to go to a physical banking scenario.
Is Post Bank already with these channels?
Oh yes, we've been there for the last many years. Talk about banking with the phone, mobile banking, talk about internet banking, talk about even having agents. If you have to possibly, there are people who basically believe that, especially maybe the older folk, they will need to have a physical encounter at a place. We also have agents that you have appointed all over the place. So with mobile banking, with the internet banking, with an app that you can download from Play Store, I think we are there.
Right.
And you're able now to handle the challenges as they come in. Yes.
Now, in terms of lending, which is something that I hadn't particularly thought of touching on this morning, but I'll have to take a look through because it's something that was in the headlines in the past 24 hours. The digital lenders came into the space, those ones that the youth can be able to download on their phones. Who are the majority who are using these platforms to get loans, secure quick loans that do not need a lot of verifications? This is has come to a point where there's been need for regulations into that particular industry, the digital financial lending side. Now, how does this affect how banks have been operating, how people are taking loans? Are we seeing an uptick elsewhere? And is this high rates that we're seeing on mobile applications? Is there need for regulations, or is this a good shift for easy access of money instantly, especially in a period where a lot of people don't have a stable source of income?
Yeah, I think it has not been a better time than now. Just like you have correctly said, the development of technology has now come up with all these mobile lending solutions. And Post Bank on our own, we have been very keen, just like our mandate is, on financial literacy.
Right.
By this, I'm saying that even as we talk to people, we talk to young people, we talk to adults, we really want to let them understand how do they manage their finances, both from the savings perspective and from the credit perspective. Now, what has now moved in a very disruptive way now is so much ease of availability of credit on these apps, and which has really impacted very much on the young people. And you realize that there has not been regulation for these mobile lenders, and there are so many. And therefore, I think it is timely that as the regulation comes into place, it will be able now for consumers of these services to be able to make credible decisions, and even possibly the interest rates will be also regulated.
Right.
And part of the lenders of this, part of the participants in this space will also embark on financial literacy, such that even as people, especially the young people, take up these loans, they don't end up being listed by the Credit Reference Bureau because they have not been able to pay, because in the first case, was it necessary for them to take a loan? So there will be a lot of education that will be able to help them manage their finances better, and possibly there will be a decrease in the rate, because I'm told some of those rates are very high.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Zawadi, is there enough financial literacy in the society currently in terms of how much information that you have available in terms of how you bank, how the loans look like? Because a lot of young people are taking those quick loans as well. And, this period that we are in, there is so much motivation to even continue doing that, even whether you are listed or not, can hop onto different platforms. And this doesn't look like financial literacy, right? Is there enough information? And if not, how exactly can, people like Mr. Benson here ensure that we have that availed to the young people?
I can say that the information is there, but the youth are not tapping into the information. They're ignorant. Also, the fact that these lenders, they are much focused on the customers, who are the youth, to take their loans, so that, as they take their loans also they get much money from the interest that the youths pay. So I can say that us as the youth, we are ignorant. We do not look for the information that is there. Also, I think that they can also tap into schools like Kenyatta University. They should come more often in our classes. The lecturers, they should be in between the lessons. They take a break, they talk to us about it. Right.
Now, Mr. Benson, we get back to you. And Post Bank is a predominantly savings bank.
Absolutely.
How has it been easy or hard for you guys to operate as that?
I think we have stuck so much on our mandate of mobilizing savings for national development, and above all, inculcating a culture of savings among Kenyans. Just like Zawadi has correctly said, this subject needs to be taken up very candidly, and we have taken up very well, starting with the youth, both in primary schools and in high schools, and the youth in the universities. I think Zawadi is a testimony that we've been knocking our doors very much in Kenyatta University.
Right.
And I think we have been doing that for the last many years. And I think about 2 weeks ago, we were here. I think we talked about hundreds of students. And principally, just like she has indicated, we talk about financial literacy, talking about from this point of even planning, budgeting, and what investments, and what should you do with the money. And we also tell them that there is no little money. Any income that is available can be saved even for future. And especially nowadays when, the issue of employment has become quite a challenge. And we also in fact, we have had conversations with some of the students who have been very good disciples, and they're able to save some good money. Excuse me, that after maybe they graduate, they're able to have some small working capital to kick over a business. So I think the issue of financial literacy to us, we take it very seriously. We participate in collaborations with other bodies that are disseminating that information. Actually, for the last 1 month, ending March, there's a body called there's a program called Global Money Week, which happens internationally, and whereby there's a lot of communication about the need for financial literacy among the youth, and that possibly why we were even here on a limited scale again because of the limitations of the containment measures.
You mentioned that as well. Is there a digital way to access some of this information from Post Bank?
Yes, actually what we have had to do now is that we have even had sessions for virtual kind of training programs, so that we're able to, to beat the physical aspect of having to meet in a hall and everything else.
Right.
So you already have material that's available. We do virtual trainings on Zoom, and we can also avail some notes on some certain platforms that can be able to access, so that these are not left behind.
What are these platforms for someone who's watching?
Okay, well, we are on Twitter. On our website, we have good information on that. And when we discuss with groups like the group that she's in charge of, we can actually share notes with the officials, which they can also share again with the students.
Right. What, Zawadi, what are the lessons, savings lessons, since Post Bank is a predominantly savings bank? I think it's important that we talk about the savings culture. What are the savings lessons that you've learned, so far in this pandemic period that has been really difficult to save?
For me, the biggest lesson I've learned regarding self-control is putting your money in a locked savings account is better than, let's say, M-Pesa, where you have easy access to it. Also, there's no little money that you can save.
Yeah, as you said.
Yeah.
Right.
And the continue saving every time, even like sacrifice.
Right.
Sacrifice is number one if you want to grow your savings. Also, take time to listen to what other youths are doing. For example, when Post Bank came, some students volunteered, and there's a student who said that he has been saving since Form 1, and after high school, he started a business of selling shoes, and I was quite taken aback. Yeah.
Right. Now, we spoke about the future of banking. What is the future of Post Bank?
Allow me just to say that
Zawadi
is a good student. I'm happy about the fact that that she's been able to adopt that way. And, realizing the importance of savings at an early stage is very important because just like that example she has given, and I would like to stress the aspect of sacrifice, because in all these things, for you to succeed as somebody who is saving, you have to identify your priorities, but there's always something that you have to stop doing. You have to sacrifice for something good, because there are so many opportunities available. People are vending everything on your way. In fact, possibly as you come to KU, you find there are hawkers all over the place. So if you're not careful, you'll be able to spend all that money. Allow me also to mention that the aspect of locked savings is something that we really talk about in Post Bank. We have an account that we call Save as You Earn, which is a locked savings, which we limit even the transactions on that account, such that you possibly lock your savings from 6 months, 9 months, 1 year or more. We don't even have that money accessible through technology. We only allow it through one way, maybe by depositing money to your account. Coming to your question, again, you're asking about the future of Post Bank in this area. We will continue in this mission because it's very critical for the country. If you look at the Vision 2030, we are looking at growing the domestic savings from the 17% up to 30%. So the conversation about savings is very critical, because for us now to be a middle class industrialist country, we have to increase our gross domestic savings, just like other countries have been able to make to do it. So we'll increase our campaigns, both in person and virtual, talking about financial literacy, talking about savings, and also coming up with products that are very relevant into this space. I also would like to say that as we look to the future, we are also working with, we work, of course, strength of partnerships. We have partners that we are working with that can help us even to navigate the way of credit, such that in areas where possibly credit is needed, we are working with partners whereby some of our customers who are in need of credit facilities can be able to get financial support from our partners.
Right. Now, wow, I wish we could have a lot of more that I want us to cover, but how soon is the path to recovery? And that is in the banking sector and even for Fuzu, as we try and navigate this particular Post Bank, as we try and navigate this particular period. How is Post Bank working towards recovery, and how it has been affected by the pandemic and the banking industry in general?
Thank you for that question. I think there's a new vocabulary that has come to the market, which is called the new norm. Must have heard about it. So I think the subject of recovery is both in the short term and in the long term. I think one of the short term areas in terms of now Post Bank is that we have been able to be compliant with the containment measures. I mean, we know customers are coming to our place of work. We are able to, sanitize, take their temperatures, and and be able to make sure that if they have to come, we have complied with that particular area. Again, even on staffing areas, staff are also affected because we have had to, to work in shifts and, because there's a lot of anxiety all over the place. But on the brighter side is that, as we observe what the national government is providing, the announcements coming from the Ministry of Health. We look at possibly indicators maybe from the World Health Organization. Now, these are the ones that are driving now in the industry on how soon to move on, particularly on the opening up of the economy, because we are still managing with digital solutions, but we are looking forward to the opening up of the economy, so that now we are able to participate in full like it used to be.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. I wish we had much more time, but unfortunately, there's many more shows that have to run after mine. I wish we could do it all day. Zawadi, thank you for the gift of your presence.
You're welcome.
And maybe your last remarks to a young person who's watching out there. At second year, a lot of people don't have financial literacy that much, right? I remember myself in second year, I don't think I was saving anything. But here we are, getting to learn a few lessons. You engaging, professionals in the industry, which is something really good for yourself and also for someone else who's out there watching, who's a young person, should and must consult, an expert and a professional in terms of their financial literacy. Your last remarks in this camera, yeah?
Yeah. So I'd tell them to start saving as early as now. And also the money that they spend on weekends for stuff they don't probably need right now, that money they could be saving. It will help them in the future. They might not know now, but in the future they will see the benefits.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Benson, your last remarks.
Thank you. I think I can't agree more with Zawadi. I think I will just assure Zawadi and the other young people who are watching this station that Post Bank is available to teach and to share this information about savings. And more importantly, that anyone who has an income is able to save, and we have accounts that you can even deposit as little as 50 shillings. We have very specific accounts, special accounts for the young people, because we want to make sure that their rates are also managed well. And given that we are on technology, they're able to now to move their money into the accounts very well. And we also ask them not to keep money on the phone, but to keep money on their account and fix it there so that they can be able to serve them in the future.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having the conversation with me.
You're most
Don't
welcome.
keep your money in your phone, yeah? That's what I'm told here. Make sure that it's put in the, somewhere that you can't misuse it. And the conversation that we've had is, how the banking industry is trying to restructure itself in this period of the COVID-19 pandemic. And Mr. Benson said we have to know that there's a new term, the new norm. So even as we try as much as recover to what we had before, we need to adjust, we need to, move with how the times are changing. Waridi is telling me save as little as you can, as Post Bank already have plans for the youth, so you can check them out on social media at Post Bank, also on their websites. They have a lot of information there for financial literacy, as well as to help you save, because they are predominantly savings bank and really very focused with moving with the trends. They are already having mobile applications for how you can already work around your money in this period. So make sure that you check them out. I'm reading the feedback even as I take this break. Watching live at Narok, Ezekiel Turere Lesiamon, thank you very much for tuning in. Brian Descartes, thank you very much for watching the show as well. Anne James, you're saying you're following. Great topic indeed. Great topic indeed. Thank you very much for following through this topic as well. Someone is telling me kindly reply. I will reply later on, but thank you very much for watching the show. Someone else here, OS Matata, asante sana for watching Biashara Tuesday, as well as Salaton, who's watching us all the way from the COVID-19 pandemic, and also how the banking sector is shifting and how you are changing how you are operating your business or how your place of employment is. We also had Tech Voice that's focused on smart TVs. If you missed that out, make sure that you check it out on our YouTube, that will be uploaded later on, as well as this conversation that we just had on set. All the conversations that we had here will be uploaded later on at KUTV Kenya. You can check this live stream if you missed it on Facebook at KUTV Kenya. I'll be leaving you with a quote. Until next week, Tuesday, same place, same time. You can also catch me on your weekend primetime news on Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. I'll be there to join you before I come back here on Biashara Tuesday again to do business next week. I'm leaving you with a proverb. A happy man marries the girl he loves, but a happier man loves the girl that he marries.